Network. Welcome to Midday Mike. Yes, Midday Mike for a third day in a row. So, beginning Monday and Tuesdays, we'll do Midday Mike at noon. Wednesdays, 4 p.m. I had to bring him. It's the third show, and I didn't have the Hall of Famer on. The Hall of Famer of OSG Sports in Atlanta, John Freeman Nelson. You can see, if you don't know who John Nelson is, shame on you. John Nelson is world renowned. Look at all the scarves. He has scarves from the whole world. Is there any
Yeah,
other city or
I do.
country that you want a scarf from? Like,
Yes.
honestly, go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, I mean, I'll hey any obscure league or anybody in Champions League, like Maccabi Haifa, they're going on right now, and they drew first blood against PSG, and they're tied 1-1 at the break. It's the first time that I think European football has been at the stadium in 13 years, I want to say. So it's been a great start for Maccabi Haifa. But yeah, anyone that is lower level and or a different country, the more obscure, the better. So let me see if there's anything. Okay, so we have Estonian national team.
Okay, hold
We
on.
have
Okay, go ahead.
okay, all right. You went full. All right. So underneath the show logo right here is that's the Estonian national team. Next to them is Fortuna Dusseldorf, I believe, Ukrainian national scarf for obvious reasons. Then you've got a lot of the lower division stuff here in the United States. A couple of Open Cup scarves from this year, and the 2019 champs. Once again, more lower division stuff, and working our way through to promotion from AFC Wimbledon. And we have some more here under the banner. We have
Wow.
right shoulder. We have one of our favorite fictitious teams right here, AFC Richmond. We got them. Buried in that one is the San Marino national team scarf. I think our buddies from Sheriff Tiraspol in Moldova are there. So, yeah, we're all over the place here when it comes to the scarves.
All right, and yeah, you mentioned. Hold on, producer's gonna. You mentioned Champions League match day 3. I think we got two finals already. Or actually, yeah, two finals. Let's go with Giancarlo Lino, a guy you're on with the soccer show there, and Carmen. Special shout out to Carmen. By the way, Friday 11:30 birthday celebration for Carmen, even though it's not his birthday, because every Friday we do it. His birthday is like on a Tuesday or Wednesday, but whatever. 85 years old, it doesn't matter. All
Right.
right, so check it out 11:30 right here on the Fired Up Network on Friday. But two games in, let's talk about them. AC Milan. All
Mm-hmm.
right, getting a little bit tough draw in the first half there, but pulling away.
Yeah, the penalty kick by Olivier Giroud was the first one on the board for them, and they continue to put the pedal down. It was 2-0. Then Zagreb came back with one to make it 2-1. Milan at a minus 294 got the Duke at home today, and then the other one was an interesting matchup. Shakhtar Donetsk, as a matter of fact, there's Shakhtar right here off
Yeah.
the right shoulder. We have followed them at OSG Sports ever since the initial invasions back in 2014, 2015. And they, in the group stage, are now playing. They're going to be playing their home matches at the home of Legia Warsaw. And so it was home away from home for them today against Celtic. Celtic had opportunities, especially in the second half, but I think we all got to see why everyone, and especially Arsenal, has been keeping their eye on Mudryk, the striker for Shakhtar. Put an absolute rocket in the roof of the net for the equalizer there. And so Shakhtar and Celtic 1-1. So it's a big point for Shakhtar on the road at home away from home.
Yeah, and Celtic, by the way, for those wrestling fans out there, Sheamus' favorite team. All right, John
Yep.
loves. Let's go. All these games are at halftime. You talk about Maccabi Haifa against PSG, 1-1.
Yep.
PSG's, thinking that it's an easy match there because some matches are easy, but as you know, all matches are not easy. Just ask the Toronto Maple Leafs on first
Oh,
round.
yeah. Well, I was going to say against Victoria Pilsen in Champions League, that might be your lone example. But Maccabi Haifa has an American keeper, and he has really done well. He's been courted by teams in Major League Soccer, but he's come up big as a part of their race into international play. And Maccabi Haifa actually got the first goal on the board, and then PSG came up with an equalizer. So 1-1. Some of the other 7 matches are starting to turn into the second halves. Chelsea and Salzburg. Chelsea, it's the first match for Graham Potter on the touchline, and he traded in his warm-up suit, his training outfit from Brighton, for a suit and tie in this one because he kind of wanted to change his own appearance a little bit. But if you watch Chelsea and Salzburg in the second half in the next, say, 40 minutes or so, you're going to notice that Graham Potter is still probably got to figure out how to tie a tie. He's got other things that are, obviously a higher priority, but the back end of Graham Potter's tie is longer than the front side. So when you get the close-ups of him on the touchline, unless he adjusted it at the half and someone actually said, yo, dude, you got to fix your tie, Graham Potter's back flap on his tie is longer than the front flap. So that was an interesting thing. Chelsea obviously still trying to find themselves under Graham Potter, because remember last time that they were in Champions League, Thomas Tuchel was manager and they were chasing after what was going on in the Premier League. But it has, it has been disclosed, divulged, whatever word you want to use, that Thomas Tuchel and Todd Boehly and Boehly Clearlake, they were not all on the same page when it came to personnel and how you wanted to do things. And so that was why the coaching change was made. I would have maintained that you want to have a coaching change at the beginning of a season, not 6 matches in. So Thomas Tuchel lasts 100 matches, just under 600 days. Graham Potter's given a 5-year contract. I don't know if he's going to make that 5 years. I doubt it very seriously, considering the demands that are there that are attached to what Boehly Clearlake want to do with Chelsea in their $4.8 billion investment. Other games starting second half, Copenhagen and Sevilla, both teams had substantive losses in match week 1, so they're going to try to figure out if they can get points off of each other. They're going to be chasing for third, I think, in their group. Juve and Benfica 1-1. It was a penalty kick that equalized it late in the first half for Benfica on that one. Manchester City and Dortmund, as I look over my left shoulder, 48th minute, nothing going on there, still goalless. Rangers and Napoli was supposed to be yesterday, but because of police concerns, obviously concerned with security involving the passing of Queen Elizabeth II, that game got pushed to today. That one's goalless. And also early second half, Real Madrid and RB Leipzig, they are goalless as well. So only 2 matches in the late window have goals on the board, and one of them is the surprise with Maccabi Haifa and PSG.
All right, and let's we talked about Chelsea. I don't want no more Chelsea talk. All right, so maybe Friday, okay? But let's talk about an MLS. Toronto playing Atlanta last week.
Right.
I think this was a critical matchup for both teams, especially Toronto, since they lost now. They had, every match, it seems the last, I don't know, maybe John, you could look this up, maybe last 2 or 3 matches, Bernadevsky has penalty kicks, goals. All right.
Yeah.
I think what's going on here? But anyways, Atlanta riding a little bit of momentum there. Toronto, Atlanta, couple years ago, they were on top of the table. Now they struggled and all that, but it looks like Atlanta's probably going to make the playoffs. TFC is going to be out. And I don't know if Bill Manning, of course, will be satisfied with this, with all the moves they made. And let's face it, they made them with 10 games, 12 games left, and thinking they're going to win at least 8 or 9. Okay? Now, they got, 3 or 4 games left. They got to run the table and hope other teams lose.
Yeah, and that's not the order that Bill Manning obviously wanted. Going back to the match on the weekend, Atlanta United put 4 on the board, and you had a hat trick from a center back off of set pieces, and a combination of there were a couple of set pieces off of corners, and then there was one where it was headed back toward the 6. Juanjo Porata really should be player of the week in Major League Soccer. I think it's only the second time in MLS history that a center back has scored a hat trick, and I think the last time was back in 1997 for LA Galaxy. But when you looked at Atlanta United, you saw really the kind of talent that Thiago Almada is, and why he got the call up from the Argentine national team. And so in the upcoming window, you'll see Thiago Almada alongside Lionel Messi for the LB Celeste. And they actually put a clock on the shot by Thiago Almada that was goal number 3 for Atlanta United, clocked in at 57 miles an hour. and you can't catch that. I don't care if you're Quentin Westberg. I don't care if you're one of those pitchback machines from when we were growing up, and it
Yeah.
was in front of the net to bounce it back out. There's no way anybody was going to catch that one. But a hat trick from Juanjo Purata, goal from Thiago Almada, and I think you got to see what Atlanta United could be. Obviously, there were injuries for Toronto FC. No Insigne, who was out for family reasons. No Mavinga, no Osorio, and your back line, you're having O'Neill and McNaughton, and you're having Larea that's a part of that, but just having the speed of Atlanta United chasing after you on that surface at Mercedes-Benz for a full 90 minutes exposed the issues that Bill Manning and Bob Bradley are going to have to chase after in the January window. I know that you want to invest all of this money and bring in the Serie A talent and turn it into Serie A West, basically. And you got to see Michael Bradley playing a bit of a deeper role and integrating well with Insigne, Criscito, and Bernardeschi. But I think that there are other issues there at Toronto that have to be addressed, and I think that's where this next window is coming up. I figured I had them once all of these acquisitions were made. I initially had them all as coming out of lane 8 and possibly making the playoffs by outscoring everybody. Knowing the
Yeah.
defensive issues that were there, figured it was going to have to be PS5 and you're going to have to, football manager, and you're just going to have to sit there and throw everything at it and just outscore folks. But I think that the issues for Toronto FC have been exposed more than anything else. And so I think defensively, you're going to have to figure out what to do in addition to bringing in Criscito, as you did if you were Bill Manning and Bob Bradley.
All right, so that we'll talk on more about soccer on Friday when we have the world-renowned soccer show with John Freeman Nelson,
Never heard of it.
Giancarlo Alino, and the coach Carmen Asako. Remember, big birthday celebration. Carmen Asako has promised John Freeman Nelson he will pick up Noble Strong. Let's see if he keeps it. If he doesn't, I'll go to his house and shave his head. All right. So now we also going to talk a little football here. Atlanta. Another year has started, and
Yeah.
another. I know we're talking about your team. I'm not going to call it LA Chargers, the San Diego Chargers. We'll talk about them. But
Right.
Atlanta with New Orleans, they have the game in the hand. And what happens? The clock strikes zero. They lose 27-26. Go ahead, John.
Yeah. Well, and then Arthur Smith, the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, decided to choose anger as opposed to just kind of reading the room. And I think that was not something that his approach should not have been that when you were trying to tell folks once again why you had another late game collapse. You're the ones that wrote us. I'm paraphrasing, but you're the ones that wrote us off then. I know you're going to write us off now. It's the whole us against the world mentality, and that's not going to fly. So it's a dangerous slope that Coach Smith is running right now. The first game out of the year, when you lose to your bitter rival 27-26, there were other issues there as well. I know that at quarterback you've got Marcus Mariota. You're getting ready for Desmond Ritter in some aspects of it. I know Cordero Patterson had another fantastic day, but defensively you couldn't stop Taysom Hill, and you had problems stopping Jameis Winston and the offense, and so of New Orleans. And so I think that there are things that you're going to have to address once again. And a lot of folks knew going into this year it was going to be a rough season if you were an Atlanta Falcons fan. How rough? Who knows? But yeah, when your starting quarterback is Marcus Mariota, who really hadn't gotten a whole lot of reps except when David Carr was injured in Las Vegas, it's going to be a tough slog, no doubt about it. And instead of preaching patience and understanding, you sit there and you chase after the media and you're like, yeah, well, you're the ones that wrote us off. You can keep writing us off and do all you want. That's not necessarily the best approach to take, I think, first game out of the blocks when the season's going to be a long one anyway.
All right. Well, let's talk about your other San Diego, but let's call it LA Chargers. Now let's call it
the LA Superchargers, right?
Well, are they the Chargers of Anaheim? That's the question. Because
no,
they play at SoFi Stadium and
but that's not in Anaheim though. If they were if they were the LA Chargers of Anaheim in the 714 area code down in the Inland Empire, much like the baseball team, then you could do something like that. No, they are the secondary tenant at SoFi, so I guess they're SoFi B. they're in the B locker room and they're over here, and it's like, yes, we will. The Spanos family was like, yes, we will pay you rent, Mr. Kroenke. Here, accept our rent payment every other week. So, um, no, it was a great start for Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers in a game that we thought was going to be a bit of a shootout. So, the obvious concern now is about Keenan Allen and
Yeah.
his injury. He's going to be out for the next couple of weeks, and the slack is going to be picked up probably by Gibson and the other wide receivers that are there. That's going to be the challenge out wide, because your number one receiver is out for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and don't forget the Chargers play tomorrow, Thursday night football against some team called Kansas City. Herbert was good.
Take the
Patrick
over.
Mahomes was better. Okay,
Mhm.
that's the honors. But Josh Allen was the best. That's all I'm saying. That's
Oh,
all
you're
I'm saying. Even though he threw 2 interceptions, one wasn't his fault. Blah blah blah. All right, week 1 is done. What impressed you in week 1?
Oh, brother, what did impress me in week 1? Mother Nature is always undefeated. Just ask the folks in Chicago.
Or
Um,
Saffron?
yeah, and I still think that there are more questions in San Francisco, since you mentioned them with Trey Lance. He came out of the blocks. It was not the effort that they were looking for. But once again, when you sit there and you're trying to go, okay, you're a young quarterback, and uh, you got Jimmy Garoppolo hanging out right there in the wings. I know obviously you would want to talk about the Bills and the Rams and how the season got started with Josh Allen. You look at Baker Bowl and the Browns coming back late on a long field goal, winning that one 26-24. Steelers and Bengals, I guess, and Eagles and Lions. That was another tremendous game for just the inability to stop folks. But when you look at the games on the board, probably the one thing before I get into Giants and Titans is the notion of the tie and sudden death and trimming I've never liked the idea of the trim time frame of sudden death overtime. I've never liked the concepts that they put out there when it comes to first possession, fair ups, and then you're on your own, that kind of a thing. I thought sudden death overtime was supposed to be sudden death overtime, but that's just me. Steelers and Bengals were this close to making sure that there were going to be a second tie on the board. Colts and Texans seemed like the just result, with 25 seconds to go. What does Houston do? Houston punts, and then that's your ball game. Ravens and Jets. The Jets, you're looking at Joe Flacco, who's going to be quarterbacking again in week number 2. You look at Giants and Titans. I wonder what happened to the Titans in the fourth quarter. They went away from their game plan, and the Giants ended up with a healthy Saquon Barkley that I think is going to be a bit of a difference. I think it'll be a better season for them. Won't necessarily be a fantastic season, but I think it'll be a better season for the Giants. I have questions about the Titans late in games. Chiefs putting 44 up against the Cardinals. I thought that was a bit of a surprise, and especially the margin of victory, winning by 23. I thought that was definitely one. And then there are obviously 2 other games, the late Sunday night ones. You look at the Cowboys, and it's going to be Cooper Rush's team for the foreseeable future with the injury to Dak Prescott, only putting up 3 points, as Tampa only won 19-3. But the bottom line is that they won. Then you look at Packers and Vikings. Vikings completely and totally hamstrung Aaron Rodgers. And I think that when you look at the first play of the game from scrimmage for Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers had the play called perfectly to their high second round draft pick, and it's right there for the taking, and it goes through his hands and he drops it. I thought that was kind of a sign for the day in and of itself. So Packers doing well against Green Bay, holding them to only 7 points. Then the Monday night game, Geno Smith, I think, gets credit for quote of the week. But Geno Smith, it's Geno Smith and Russell Wilson. You tell me. You get Geno Smith and Russell Wilson paired together in a matchup. Who are you picking?
I'm going to pick Geno Smith. I was right. So, look. Yeah, right. Come on. Denver had they fumbled the ball twice at the 2-yard line. All right. And then you're paying what are you paying Russell Wilson? $200 million? And
11 million gazillion billion, yes.
And you don't go for it on 4th down, and you got, your kicker's okay, 64-yard field goal. Come on, you need Russell Wilson against his former team in Seattle. They booed him. That was a surprise when he came out. Let's not talk about that, but you don't even give the guy the ball. You kick a 64-yard. But interesting to note, By the way, 2 Monday Night Football games this week. The first one is what everybody's watching, by the way, John. First one, Tennessee and Buffalo, 7:15. Tennessee could be 0-2. In fact, not could, will
Wow. All right.
be 0-2. Look, it's a revenge game for Buffalo. Buffalo last 2 years go to Tennessee and lose. Now they play their first home game on Monday Night Football in Buffalo. End of story. Buffalo wins.
No, I think the Mafia get it done. I think you're right.
And I want to conclude here. We're going to be joined by another guest here in about 2 minutes, but I want to conclude with the Atlanta Braves.
Why?
Wait, because this is why. A couple of months ago, I said to your guy, Marty Roberts, shout out to Marty Roberts, that the Atlanta Braves will finish first in the National League East. It's neck and neck with the Mets or whatever, but what a story. 60-20 in the last 80 games or something like that. Speak about the Atlanta Braves.
Well, the Atlanta Braves, I know a lot of folks kick dirt on them, and then they've really caught fire, say, in the last half of the season. But right now, all of your big names are slumping. Matt Olson, a part of that slump. I think he's hitting under 100 for his last handful of games, and Contreras is hitting under 150. You've clawed all the way back to being only a half a game out coming into today's action. And as you and I are talking, Braves are in San Francisco, and later today the Mets are dealing with the Chicago Cubs. But the pitching right now is what is maintaining and keeping the Atlanta Braves in this race, chasing after the Eastern Division title. You're hitting if you want to have some kind of a slump, do it now as opposed to the postseason, because you are at game 143. So you're looking at 19 to go, and you're only a half a game out. So slump now, don't slump later. That's probably the biggest lesson in all of this.
Yeah. All right, John, as you head out, and we're going to be joined by another guest here, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you, and yes, go ahead.
Noble Strong, book number 6, available on Amazon.com. A great story about small town high school football, the folks that love one family in need and struggling when it comes to a diagnosis, and how you just wrap yourselves around a family as you chase after larger trophies and bigger missions. A great story there with the Nobles family, Noble Strong. You can pick that up on Amazon right now. And to do a John Nelson, Jon John, as you see right there, Jon John. There is no H. I am an H-less John. You can do your John Nelson or Nobles Strong search on Amazon. You can pick it up that way and add it to your collection. That's book number 6 here, and you can have a good time. I mean, it's a fairly breezy read, but it's a heavy topic that's got some football sprinkled in, but it's a fairly easy read. So pick that up right there. You can follow me on Twitter, as you see right below me here on the lower third, at OSG Nelson, at OSG Sports, at Soccer Down Here Daily Radio, and the Soccer Down Here and OSG Sports apps available iOS and Android.
That's the Hall of Famer, John Freeman Nelson. Don't forget, he'll be back here Friday, and what a pleasure to have him on. Thanks a lot, John.
Anytime, my friend. We'll catch up with you on Friday.
All right, thanks. And remember, bring out your hat, celebrating Carmen Asaco's 88th birthday. All right, so we'll be joined by another special guest in a couple minutes here on Midday Mike, sort of. Not late day Mike, all right? Late day Mike here. We're going to do this every Monday, Tuesday at noon, and Wednesday at 4 p.m. Thursday, we got our flagship show, Fired Up Live. Fridays, you could hear. We have the soccer show Saturday, starting hockey season again, pre and post of Maple Leaf games, and Sunday NFL. And we got other surprises coming up here, as well as my guest has just texted me. It's having problems getting in here, so hopefully she'll be in here in just a few seconds here on Midday Mike here. But again, we're going to talk a little wrestling. It's AEW tonight, AEW Dynamite tonight, and the whole world's talking about Dynamite tonight because we got Sammy Guevara. Yes, Sammy Guevara against Jon Moxley in a semifinal match in the heavyweight title tournament. And we got Bryan Danielson Yes, Brian Danielson against Chris Jericho. Brian Danielson, Chris Jericho tonight. So just hold on here. I'm just getting a couple of fixes. So hopefully we have no problem getting in and everything like that with our guest. But um, Sam Guevara and John Moxley and Brian Danielson, Chris Jericho tonight on AEW Dynamite. It's going to really be a good show here. Of course, AEW is making news all over with what happened with CM Punk and everything like that. But hopefully, we'll be joined by our guest here on Midday Mike. And I'm just going to try to get her on again here. 1 second. And yeah, so and of course I was gonna reveal this later on, but I'll reveal it right now. Last night, NXT Solo Sokoa American won the North American title, but NXT also had the reveal of the old or new logo here. We're joined in. Martina, are you there? Okay, so hopefully she'll join us in a couple seconds. But the old logo, and I'll get to that in a second, was NXT Black and Gold, and then they became NXT all over the covers, 2.0 and everything like that. But now they're back to there's the new NXT. Get rid of 2.0. By the way, Playback is our show for NXT, but that's their new logo. NXT. It's white and gold as opposed to black and gold, but white and gold now. What do you fans think? Do you like it over the other NXT? I'm going to pull the other NXT here. Second. Um, so here's the other playback is what we call our show here on the Fired Up Network. But here's the new NXT. That's 2.0. Now this is the newer NXT. They got rid of the 2.0. Again, this is currently NXT with the colors. And here is the new 2.0. Got rid of the 2.0 and they played NXT. We're joined now by Martina. Martina hopefully is on here. Hopefully, no, I can't see you, Martina. Your signal is bad. Or now I can see you. All right. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can see you. That's Martina Barnett. She's the newest member of the Fired Up Network and Fam, and she has the show Slam. We'll talk about that. And she's part of the wrestling show with Giancarlo, myself, and all the other shows. So I brought you on here because AEW has another big show tonight, Dynamite. Tonight, it's going to be Dynamite, all right? We got Chris Jericho against Brian Danielson, semifinal heavyweight tournament, number one. And then Sammy Guevara against John Moxley. By the way, I guarantee you the over under it's 3 kisses by Ty Conti, Ty Mello, whatever you want to call her today. Do you go over or under in the match? 3 kisses or less?
At least 3 kisses. At least.
All right. AEW has made a lot of news for about 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks with CM Punk and suspensions and all. Pat Buck, who was suspended, is back tonight. There's news. He's back tonight. All right. So, again, they're leading to next week's AEW Grand Slam at Arthur Ashe Stadium. It's going to be a huge event and all that. But let's get to your pick right now. We're sort of doing a preview of Dynamite. I'm going to forget about these other matches, okay? There's 2 matches that everybody's talking about. Let's start off with, I'm Spanish, so the Spanish, not God, because I'm the Spanish. By the way, look at the haircut and everything. Spanish God me, but Sammy Guevara versus John Moxley.
I'm gonna have to go with Moxley. Real quick, I just want to say real quick, the NXT is in front of our faces.
It
Did
was.
you notice that?
No, I took it off. It
Oh,
was like right now it's off, on, but now I took it off. So, by the way,
okay, there
here
we
I'll ask you. This is NXT two. I'll ask you which one you like better. Playback is what we call our shows. You know that because you
go.
write it and everything. So that was 2.0's logo. All right. Now
Hmm.
this is the new logo. Black and white
I
and black and gold was original NXT, and now that color, whatever you're pink and whatever, now
mhm.
white and gold. Which one do you like the most?
This most recent one, okay, the other one was like prettier and more eye catching, but this one looks more. I think we're bringing in some nostalgia from that black and gold era. So I think it's going to help to reel those people back in who maybe they watched and maybe they don't watch anymore. Maybe kind of reclaim some fans.
All right, we'll talk about NXT because there was a title change last night
Mhm.
on NXT. But okay, give me your pick: Sammy Guevara, John Moxley.
I'm gonna have to go with Mox. I I don't know how to say this, but I just don't think Sammy has. I don't think he's gonna be able to get over on him. Mox, we know Mox is a brawler. He loves some blood. He loves to bleed. He loves to make his opponents bleed. And Sammy's a high flyer, but it's kind of hard to fly when you got blood in your eye. So I think Mox is gonna take this one.
All right, so you go with Mox. Now, a match that I'm looking forward to even more is Canadian Ayatollah of Rockarola, Chris Jericho, the Lionheart, whatever you want to call him. Every week he changes his name, but Chris Jericho up against yes. No, is it yes, yes, yes? No, 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 whatever. Brian Danielson against Chris Jericho. If this match is given more than 10 minutes, I'll be happy. It should go about 25, 30 minutes because these guys will steal the show tonight. Who's your pick?
I am pro Chris Jericho. It doesn't. I can't think of one person he would go up against, and I wouldn't root for him. Like I've been a lifelong fan. I'm always pro Chris Jericho. I love how he reinvents himself, and I love that he's going all the way back to the beginning, pretty much with Lionheart Chris Jericho. And we know that we know he can be silly. We know he has a lot of gimmicks, like you said. He does change his name a lot. Is he a wizard? Is he the demo god? What is he now? But when he really is like getting down to it, like he's hard to beat. We know Brian Danielson is a super technical wrestler. He's got his holes in his grapples, but I am of the mindset that seeing how Jericho is in the twilight of his career, he is in his 50s. He's been doing this for forever. Personally, I would like to see him go over and get the title one more time, given this situation. I've expressed how I feel about this tournament in general, and I don't like the tournament in general, but I must say, given what we've got, I would prefer to see Jericho. But then I know there's the people who will say, well, Danielson has never been champion in AEW, and that is correct. However, I am biased and I love Jericho, so let's go Jericho.
Listen, I'm Canadian. I love Chris
Hey,
Jericho because I don't know in America. What do you say? Hey, we say What do you say in America?
well, I'm from the South, so we say, hey, y'all.
Hey, see, I told you. Hey, whatever. Just an H, okay? Jericho has an H in it. Okay, there you go. But I would pick Chris Jericho, but I'm not picking Chris Jericho because I already. By the way, I write the
Uh oh.
scripts. I write the scripts.
Oh
Brian
no. Oh
Danielson
yes.
will win this bout. Brian Danielson will win this bout because Daniel Garcia will get involved. Watch it, book it, bank it, trust it, do it. Watch Fired Up Network. If I'm wrong, you could cut her hair, okay? So put it that way. Yeah. All
Cut
right.
my hair.
Brian, Brian Danielson, and I believe John Moxley in the finals. Wait, it gets better. They are part of what? The
The
Blackpool
Blackpool
Combat.
Combat Club. I was gonna
So are
say
we
we're gonna have.
seeing? Are, and he alluded. I'm. This is a spoiler. I'm giving another spoiler. Every time you're on the show, I give spoil. And are my spoilers correct? Come on, come on.
You're batting 1,000. You're.
Don't say
I
that
hey.
because
Look, what'd you say?
obviously I'm
Book
going
it,
to get
bank
one
it.
wrong sometime. All right, shh, shh. But here it is. He alluded to it last week. John Moxley. He's supposed to go on holiday and break and all that. He was forced to come back here. Now, could we see John Moxley? They give him a little bit more time off. Could we see the breakup a little bit of the Blackpool Combat Club, and John Moxley's place gets taken by Danny Garcia.
I think that would.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think that would be. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of the whole Blackpool Combat Club alliance simply because they're rarely together. A faction needs to be together, and I feel like they're together in name only anyway. When's the last time we saw Mox, Danielson, Wheeler Yuta, William Regal, and Claudio and the whole gang come out together? Like they're rarely together. So I don't think they're cohesive enough to be a faction anyway. I like the concept, but it just hasn't really been executed that well, in my opinion. So I'm fine with them breaking it up. And I know, like you said, Mox said that he was supposed to be on vacation until everything broke loose last week. And so I get that as well. And I would be fine with them breaking up because I don't think we ever really saw their true potential as a faction to begin with.
So if you look at it, Bryan Danielson, John Moxley feuding. Let's call it like it is, feuding. Then you have Wheeler Yuta, Danny Garcia, maybe feuding, okay, because they lost. What does Claudio or Cesaro? Who's he feuding with?
That's
Maybe
an excellent question. That's a great question. I don't actually know what's next for him because
we're going to find out tonight.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that. I see where you're going with that. It would make me sad to see him, because I liked him in JAS. And he is so good in the ring. He has so much. You can tell, sometimes you can just look at a star. You can just look at them and just know, like, they are going places. Like, you're going to see them for years to come. And he's definitely one of those talents. He's so good in the ring. He's good on the mic. He's young. He's got such great ability. I would love to see him in a worthy feud. If he feuds with Jericho, that will be interesting because we know Jericho can. We know he got a clipboard over. He can get anybody over. So
you just made the list. All right. Okay. So number 2 is here. I'm spoiling this. I've just got a text message from my Jewish friend, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. By the way, he is coming to Jewish New Year in 10 days. All right. Maxwell Jacob Friedman. There, MJF, big story there, big news there. What do you think he's going to do tonight here for AEW?
Solid point. Okay, so what is he going to do? Okay, seeing as how we've got this tournament going on, we know he's got the chip to face whoever he wants to face, or whoever wins it, basically. Whenever is what I should have said. Whenever he wants to face them, I think he's probably going to be somewhere lurking to get to influence the outcome of these matches, to get the opponent of his choosing. Who that is, I'm not 100% sure because we know he was formerly feuding with Punk. He's not going to be there. He's feuded with Jericho. Who is it going to be next? I think a feud with Daniel Garcia for him would make sense. They're both young and talented. But that's a good question. We know he with Mox, so maybe he'll do something with Mox. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
All right. So here. Oh. All right.
More breaking news.
So I'll give a. I don't know if this is a spoiler, but here it is. Mox was supposed to win the title. Apparently, that may have changed effective today, around an hour ago. It looks like we talked about who's going to be challenging Cesaro. Can it be my Jewish friend? That can be a good feud. And don't forget, AEW, he still has the chip for AEW. Or is it an AEW chip? Can he go after the Ring of Honor chip and then get a TV deal based on MJF for Ring of Honor? Because don't forget, here it is. He hasn't signed a deal with AEW, presumably. But how do you know he hasn't signed with Ring of Honor? And they need a TV deal. And Tony Khan, my good, close personal friend, who's going to sponsor this show, right? Anyways, they're here October 12th, 13th at the Coca-Cola Coliseum in Toronto, all right? Says, they need a TV deal for Ring of Honor. What better guy to have carry Ring of Honor into a new television deal and a new platform and a new than MJ. At least he gets all the Jewish guys. But Josh Allen has called out MJF, all right? He has called him out because he invites him to Buffalo this Monday when they beat Tennessee. That's it. Sign an autograph and everything like that. But let's talk about again, we touched on this just a little bit. NXT last night, a title change. We, the ones, got another title. Now, this is big, big news. Martina, go ahead, because I'll give you another spoiler, but go ahead. What do you think of Solo Sikoa capturing the North American title?
I love it. It's so fitting. It just makes perfect sense. He's in, and I think about remember, that's been one of Jay's issues, one of his many issues with Sammy. Remember when he's like, oh, you need to start pulling your weight around here. You're the only one here that doesn't have a title. So now he can really, really say, like, Sikoa just came in and he already has a title. Like, what are you doing? So there's that, kind of adds the fuel to that fire. And it really works with his credibility because, he's new to the main roster. A lot of people have not seen him before, people who don't watch NXT. So I love it. It makes sense. The bloodline has so much gold. Like, all they need is a woman or women to add some gold, and they're unstoppable. Who can stop them? Can anyone stop them?
Well, somebody's going to stop them come WrestleMania or be at the head of the table there. But here we go. You mentioned this is why she's on the Fired Up Network, Martina. She's on the Fired Up Network for this great point that she mentioned. All right, everybody, bring to the table what you bring to the table. They're the tag team champions. He's the undisputed champion, Roman Reigns. Now Solo Sikoa, North American champion. What is Sami Zayn bringing? You know what Sami Zayn's bringing? He's bringing Canadian heritage to the table. What does that mean for Roman Reigns? Nothing, because it looks like Sami Zayn is going to be kicked out of the bloodline and team up with
Kevin Owens again.
And that will set up who they got a number one contenders match on SmackDown. Does anybody care about do you think the Street Profits going to beat the Usos? No. The Alpha Academy going to beat the Usos? No. Whatever the other tag team? No. But you want to see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? I guarantee you. I'll go on the line again. If I'm wrong, cut Martina's hair. All right, I'll go on the line again. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn are your new WWE Tag Team Champions. Book it, bank it, take it to the bank, and this is why you're looking to Fired Up Network. Now, here's the other thing, okay? Here's the other thing. Rumors are persisting that Roman Reigns is going to take on The Rock at WrestleMania. Till WrestleMania, we got 6 months. Do you think, and they're also saying they want to separate the titles before WrestleMania. So who New Day, who loses or who beats Roman Reigns for the Raw title? Let's say, because I think he's going to keep the SmackDown title.
Okay, so let me just start by saying, for all my fellow Bloodline fans, 31's in the air. I do not. It would be fine with me. There you go. Thank you. There it is. One's in the air. I would be fine, but I am a huge Roman fan, in and out of the ring. I like Roman Reigns. I like the Bloodline. Just gonna start by saying that. I would be fine with him keeping it up through. He can keep it as long as he deserves it, because I was so salty at the Vince era WWE at how they kept him face for like a million years and no one liked it, and he was getting booed every week. That I feel like he deserves. For all that he went through, he can keep it for as long as he wants, in my opinion. However, I know there is reality. So to answer your question, word on the street is, or what? When I say word on the street, I mean my mutuals on Twitter. And from watching like cultaholic videos and stuff like that, one idea that people threw out there was, they said, okay, you could have like a three-way, what do you call a triple threat match of some sort, where it could be Roman and someone else, and he could lose it without being pinned. So therefore, he does not look weak, but he could lose the title without being pinned. Okay, that's an idea. They could do. What'd you say?
Wrong. I already know what they're
Wrong.
gonna do.
What do
I
you
spoke to my
mean?
other good friend, my other good Jewish friend, Paul Heyman. Do you want me to tell you?
Wait, Paul Heyman is Jewish? I didn't know that. New
Yes, Paul
information.
Heyman's Jewish too. Yeah. We got
Oh,
a
okay, that's fine.
Goldberg's
I just didn't
Jewish,
know that.
everything. Goldberg's Jewish, Paul Heyman's Jewish, MJF is Jewish, the whole world. Anyways, listen, I'm going to tell you what happens. According to my good friend, close personal friend, the undisputed, what do they call him? Not the tribal chief. What's it called? The master. What is he called? Roman Reigns calls him what?
The wise man.
The wise man. Yeah, I should have known. I'm more wiser than him. According to the wise man, Roman Reigns is going to get tired. He has smashed everybody. There's nobody else. He'll relinquish one title. He's still number one champion in the number one show in Red Island of relevancy. He keeps one title. He gives up the other title. He will not lose the title. Just give it up.
Okay, that's
You
an
heard it
idea.
here first.
Could voluntarily give it up. Okay, so as far as who he should give it up to, everyone seems to be in favor of Rollins. I don't like that idea because I feel the same way that I felt about AEW. I feel about that for WWE. I like new champions. I don't think there should be anyone else that has never had it before that deserves it and is eligible when and have another 2-time or 3 or however many time champion. I like brand spanking new champions. So as far as who it should go to, everyone knows I'm pro Cody Rhodes. I wish it could be Cody, but I know he's still healing like that. Ooh, I hope he needs some vibranium from Black Panther for his injury so he can come back to life faster. Like, come on, I really need him. And I'm just kidding. I know he has to heal, but if
Do
it
you want me
can't
to
be
spoil
him,
another one for you?
I knew you would. I knew I could count on you. If it can't be Cody, if it's not Rollins, who is it? Who's it going to be?
So the plan is if they don't get The Rock, here, The Rock, Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Apparently, right now, when Vince was in charge, The Rock was going to win. Right now, Rock would put over Roman Reigns in Los Angeles, beating The Rock, beating The Rock. Okay, but wait.
Oh, it broke up as soon as you went to say it. I'm sorry. Could you?
I said The Rock was supposed to beat Roman Reigns according to Vince McMahon. Okay, when Vince was in charge, was supposed to be Rock beating Roman Reigns. But now Vince McMahon's not in charge. Hopefully, we have Martina. Martina, you there? We have lost Martina here. But anyways, I'll wait for. Hopefully, she comes back in. The Rock was supposed to beat Roman Reigns according to Vince McMahon's whatever. When Vince McMahon was in charge, The Rock was supposed to. When Vince McMahon, here's Martina back again. So I'll repeat it. When Vince McMahon was in charge, The Rock was supposed to beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Now that Vince McMahon's not in charge, it looks like if that match happens, Roman Reigns will beat The Rock. However, now it looks like what a story it would be if they don't get The Rock. Cody Rhodes comes back and defeats Roman Reigns. That's number one. Number two, since the title is going to be just thrown away,
Relinquished.
if he relinquishes, he gives it up, but he's throwing away. It's not the
Donate
title he
it.
wants. All right. So
Donate it.
if you look at it, there's only one guy who's been chasing after the title, trying to cash in his Money in the Bank
Oh
briefcase,
Lord,
trying to cash it in, trying
not this
everything.
guy.
The youngest champion. Wait, could it be Austin Theory holding the title for 32 seconds and then a returning Randy Orton? That's the latest. You have not heard this anywhere. Martina's gone again, but hopefully she'll be back. Hopefully you'll be back. Martina, can you hear us? Yes, I think you can hear us, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. My connection is it's Mercury retrograde. I'm sorry. The technology is just not in my favor today. But I heard what you said. You said, what's his face? Theory to cash in and get it. And then you said Randy Orton is coming back to squash him. Did I hear that correctly?
That's the latest. I have heard a lot of rumors, but I heard Randy Orton maybe coming back. to squash theory and everything like that. But that's what I hear. All right, Martina, you're going to be on the wrestling show this week, but you also have your show, The Slam, which we may played Thursday, maybe play Friday, maybe play Saturday, maybe, but it's definitely going to be played. So, what do
Yes.
you have planned for this week? You're the host of The Slam.
Yes, yes. I'm going to hear it and say this before the technology gets me out again. So, yes, I have an awesome special guest this week. I have D. Dowdy, fellow North Carolina media personality. He has a huge social media following. He is going to be on the show, and he just so happens to be a massive sports fan, a massive wrestling fan. I am going to have a talk with him tonight. We're recording it tonight, and then, just like you said, it'll air very soon. But that's going to be a fun talk from a fellow millennial wrestling fan who grew up during the Attitude Era, grew up watching wrestling. Someone
What?
like myself. It's cool.
What?
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 Never.
What?
Never. Let's go out for a drink.
Cool
Some
to hear
what?
different. It's cool to hear different perspectives. So, and he goes a lot. He's a regular attendee every time they come to North Carolina. He's there. So he's in the know, and it'll be fun. We're going to talk about what's going on, get his takes on, this, of course, the ongoing sagas in AEW, and we're going to talk about the ratings. I'm sure you talked about this earlier, but the PWI ratings that came out today, we're going to be talking about that. Of course, Roman is number one because obviously. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that. So that's what's coming this week
here's
on
the story that's making the rounds. Sorry for cutting you off. Since we're going to close this out with this, Roman's number one. Seth Rollins is not even number 10. A lot of people are pissed at that. And Cody Rhodes is, I think, number 7 or 8 there. So it's just by popularity, because the number one wrestler of all time should always, it doesn't matter if he hasn't wrestled in 58 years. Steve Lombardi, the Brooklyn Baller, should be on there. Never mind. Steve Lombardi, like Iron Mike Sharp and Johnny Canine and all this. Come on. All right. So Carmelo, I think Carmelo Hayes was on it, or I thought I saw Carmelo, but maybe I'm wrong there. But again, we'll talk about that on the wrestling show as well, because that's making big news. All right. As we close this out, Midday Mike here, AEW Dynamite tonight. What are you looking forward to the most?
I definitely want to see the Jericho Danielson match. And I'm very, very curious to see just how bad Mox is going to beat down Guevara. How brutal is he going to be?
He'll be brutal, but Sammy. Sorry, Jim Ross. Sammy will surprise everybody. I'm not saying he will win, but Sammy will surprise. That's all I'm saying. All right, Martina, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you social media wise. All right. Well, how to get a hold of Martina social media wise is Slam Host Martina. That's Slam Host Martina. And you check her out on Fired Up Live and her show, The Slam here. She's back 1 second. So tell everybody how they get a hold of you social media wise.
Yes, I'm so sorry about that. This connection is trash and I'm hardwired and everything. But yes, you can find me on Twitter. Follow me at Slam Host Martina. Instagram, Facebook, everywhere is Slam Host Martina everywhere. You click the link in my bio and you'll find everywhere I am. Catch me here on the Fired Up Network. Like he said, I'm on the wrestling show. I've got the Slam. I'm here. Wherever there is Wrestle Talk, I'm probably going to pop up because that's my jam. Read my articles, follow me, and check me out and hear what I have to say. And as always, if you are interested in being a guest on the Slam, shoot us a message and let's set it up.
All right. Again, Midday Mike will now be on noon Mondays, noon Tuesdays, and 4 p.m. on Wednesday. Thanks a lot, Martina. Thanks to John Nelson. We'll be back for more great programming on the Fired Up and Fem Network. Thank you.